Hi there, I'm Mary Susie from Bead Me a Story, and today I'm going to teach you how to make this inverted round captive dot stretch bracelet. Okay, I'll just show you that it is stretchy. And this is really fun to learn. The reason I wanted to do this was because I wanted to make sure that everybody started learning to do the inverted round. I do plan on doing some more advanced items in the future. So this is a great one to start with because it uses fairly large plastic beads inside of it that really help you to learn. And I just wanted to also show you these are going to use our EPDM rubber O-rings. Our O-rings are custom made for us, so I can't guarantee that if you use a different brand or something that they're going to work. Our rubber O-rings come in over 30 different colors in this particular size, and we do have them again custom made for us. I do recommend with this particular project that you use a dark color of O-ring for your project. So you can do this in all sorts of different colors. You see we have lots of colors to choose from here. We'll have lots of colors of O-rings to choose from, but make sure it's dark. We will be treating these, but the beads can bleed, so I like to stay away from whites and light pinks and things like that, just so that the piece has some longevity to it. Okay, let's get started. So in order to start an inverted round, the first thing I did was went ahead and opened all my jump rings. Okay, so you want to open, I'm planning on this taking probably about 63 jump rings. I have my O-rings here. And then the other thing that I did, and I wanted to make sure to tell you that I did this, was for the most beginner inverted round, I like to show it with these plastic tri-beads. And these are meant to look a little bit like wood, but they are plastic. So just to give you fair warning about this, if you just buy these and use them, they can bleed. So what I did before I started was I just sprayed these with a spray sealer, just a clear acrylic sealer. I used a matte finish on this, but I feel like it's a very good idea to protect the beads, so that basically what it means is if you're wearing this later and you start sweating, that the color won't rub off onto your skin. Okay, so very important to seal your beads when you're using real low quality beads. You want to take some things like that into consideration. Okay, so here's our little tri-beads. I really like the size of this particular bead, and that's why I use this. And the other thing about it I wanted to note here was if you look at the orange and the red, they look a lot like coral. Okay, so that's going to lend you some really neat opportunities for some fun creations. So just because things are plastic doesn't make them bad. I know they're you know, a little bit lower quality and aren't going to hold up forever, but they're also very price effective. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do to make this is I take my first jump ring. I picked up 4 rubber O-rings. These are 10mm rubber O-rings from Bead Me a Story. And then I'm going to close this jump ring. Okay, now I'm going to take another jump ring. I'm going to pass through the 2 O-rings that are already here. Okay, so see I'm making a 2 by 1 by 2 by 1. And then I'm going to add 2. Okay, so I'm just making a simple little chain to start out with. Oops. Lost one. Okay. I want nice clean closures so that my jump rings do not nick my O-rings and tear them. Okay, so be careful about your closures. Okay, so now that we have this little portion made up, here's what's going to happen next. We're going to connect this pair to this pair. Okay, so basically what we're making is a triangle. And an inverted round is always a triangle. So you're going to have 3 sides to this. So you notice that there's 3 jump rings and that there's 3 sets of O-rings. But those O-rings are going to turn into rows of their own in just a minute. Okay. All right, so now I'm going to lay this down, and very carefully I want to show you that these 3, see how there's 3 on top and there's 3 laying down beneath these? We're going to pull the 3 up. And we're going to pull the 3 that are on the bottom, we're going to pull those down. Okay, so basically we already have 3 rows of inverted round. This is what this is going to look like. Okay, so when we're using rubber O-rings, generally what we're doing in almost all the weaves is we're adding 2 rows at a time, because these don't open, only the metal rings open. So technically we're adding 2 rows at a time. Okay, so I'm going to add my first color of bead. I've got my pink. And wait till you see this. This is really neat. Okay, it fits perfectly into here. So see how I had the triangle of O-rings, and I just laid this little tri-bead in here. The little spokes on the outside of the tri-bead are going to stick out through the holes of the rubber O-rings. Now with this first connection I'm doing, this is probably going to fall out, and that's totally okay. I'm expecting it, but I just wanted you to see how this is going to lay in there. Okay, so now I'm going to go under one of my O-rings in this row, and then I'm going to move under the next one. Okay, see that? And I am going to, this is my first jump ring of a row. We're going to add 3. So on the first one, I'm going to pick up 2 O-rings. Okay, so remember I said we're adding 2 rows at a time. So we're adding our row of jump rings. At the same time, we're adding our next row of rubber O-rings that we're going to need. Okay, so that's the first connection. And that bead actually stayed in there, so that's great. It's the first connection. Okay, you still see these 1, 2, 3. So the next connection we're going to make, we are going to be going through these 2. Okay, and then we also want to pass through this one that we just added, and then we'll only be adding 1, because of course we only need 3 per row. So on the second pass, the second jump ring you add to a row, you're only going to add 1 more new O-ring. Okay, so see how I'm going from the inside to the outside of the one I just added, and then I'm passing outside to inside, and then allowing the jump ring to come from inside to outside. Okay, and then as I said, we're going to add just 1 rubber O-ring. Okay, so we've added 3 of those now, so the next jump ring we add, we don't need to add any. Okay, and so you can see this happening. Here's 1 securing it, securing that bead in there. Here's another one, and I'm going to pull these up. Okay, so if you look at it on this side, this looks complete. But we know that over here we've got 1 more ring that needs to be added, and when you get to the third one, it's really easy to see where you're going to go, because you're going to go under here, it's going to come out over here, and go up through these 2 rubber O-rings that are sitting above it. Okay, so pass through these guys, Okay, and then from the outside to the inside of this one, and inside to the outside of the next one that's above, and then close the ring. Okay, so this can get a little bit tight, but this is all about building your hand memory and getting better at opening and closing jump rings, while at the same time creating a pattern. Okay, so see how our bead is stuck in there? It's not going anywhere now. Even when you stretch this, it would take a lot of doing to get that bead out of there, because it's got the nifty little spikes on it, so it's spokes on it, excuse me, and it's going to stay in place. Okay, so now we did pink, we're doing a rainbow here, so now I'm going to do red. You can start with whichever color of the rainbow you prefer. This is going to be a continuous circle at the end, so as long as you're going in order of color, you're fine. Okay, so see how I pass through 2. Okay, I'm going to pick up 2 O-rings just like we did last time. We're starting a new row. So on the first jump ring that I add, we're going to pick up 2 rubber O-rings. And we're going to close. Okay, I'm going to pull this guy up over here. And then if you remember on the second one, on this O-ring that's over where we're going from the inside of it to the outside of it. We're passing underneath these 2, and we're adding 1 rubber O-ring. Okay, so now we've added 3 rubber O-rings to this row, and we're going to add 1 more jump ring, and this row will be complete. Okay, so you see we've got all 3 of them there. If you look on this side, it looks like we're done. But if you turn it over on this side, you can see that we're missing a jump ring right here. Okay. So now this jump ring, we're going to pass underneath the 2 that are beside the bead, and from the outside to the inside, and inside to outside of this next one. Okay. So I find that these little tri-bead bracelets, which I like to call polka dot bracelets, you'll see why when we're done, because all you see is the little dots sticking out. Okay, see our little polka dots sticking out. So when we make this bracelet, I just find that because of the shape of this bead, it makes it very, very easy to see everything that you need to do. Because you're putting the bead in there, it's got the nice long spokes to it so that they stick out, and it's easy to just squeeze your rings around it and kind of understand what needs to happen. Okay, so you should catch on to this fairly quickly. Okay, so pass through underneath 2. Starting a new row, we added our orange. Pick up 2. Okay. And we're going to do our next one. Pass. Oh, let's see. Pass from the inside to the outside of this one up top. Underneath these next 2 rings that are beside the bead, pick up 1 and close. Okay. So see, once you get the hang of this, this is very easy. It gets very methodical. This one is a tricky one to learn. That I think the 3-sided nature of it can really get people confused. I work with a lot of beginners, so I've kind of seen it all. Taught a lot of people how to do this in person before making a video, so that I kind of understand where people get caught up on it. and I try and illustrate that when I do the video. Okay, so that's why I'm doing several rows of this. I'm sure most of you have it, but if you're still watching to see what I'm doing. Okay, see, so we got our pink, red, orange, then we're gonna do yellow, green, blue, and purple. Okay, so you can just keep moving forward, adding rows to this, and I'll be back in a couple minutes. So now we're ready to complete this, and I just want to show you this is our beginning end. You know, we started on the pink, we ended on the green, okay, and then we have blue and purple that we need to fill in. And you can see clearly I had that first set of O-rings at the beginning that was left over, and I have the set of 3 O-rings at the end that need to be filled in. So those will get filled in with the blue and purple. So make sure that you leave the last 2 beads to be filled in. Okay, so in order to do this, what we're gonna do is I'm gonna hook around these 2, and then I'm gonna hook into these 2 on this side, okay? So I don't want to put any beads in yet because I haven't got enough jump ring and support in there to hold it in place yet. Okay, so we're gonna put our first one in, and then once we do this, so you can see what that one looks like from the inside. Okay, once we do this, we should be able to get this blue one in. And fortunately, well, come on. Fortunately, O-rings do stretch. Okay, so once I get that first little one in, the second one's easy. Okay, but see how it's gonna hold it in place now. So if we do that first one and then pop the beads in, it's a lot easier than trying to juggle everything at one time. Okay, and there's that. Okay, so you see we've got these 2 O-rings here that we're gonna slide down. And this can just be a little bit confusing to see. Okay, so look carefully before you do each row. But basically, if you just approach it, like I'm looking at the purple one, and I know as I was going along with the weave that I would dig under, okay, those 2. And then now we're just digging under the 2 that are on the blue side, okay? So no need to make it any harder than it is. I know it's visually difficult to see, but with a little practice and a little examination, just go slow your first time, you'll get it. Okay, so see we have these 2, so really our piece looks done, but what you can do is, I just want you to see how I spun that around so that this is now on the outside. That way we can get to it more easily. Okay, so this is our last jump ring that we're gonna apply. Okay, so just like before, I'm gonna go underneath the O-rings that are alongside the purple, and then I'm gonna dig underneath the O-rings that are alongside that blue. Okay, and then we'll close. So as things get tight too, don't be afraid to reposition your pliers. You know, just whenever you're repositioning, don't start moving, don't start closing a ring until you are in place and have a good grip on what you're doing. And this is it. Okay, so this is basically a bangle. This, you can actually roll this onto your hand. See how I'm rolling it? So it'll stretch to go over your hand, but I want you to see that it has a certain stiffness to it. So this type of design is great for sculptural pieces and things like that, because it has a very stiff form. So there's a lot of things that you can do with it. I did these colors in particular today just as a practice. for you to get the hang of it in some widely contrasting colors, but you can do this in any colors that you want. I will just give you fair warning that if you buy a multi-pack to do a rainbow with, that I'm not particularly happy with how the green and the yellow come out of the multi-packs, because they get a little stained from the other beads. Okay, so if you want to get a multi-pack, that's fine, but better if you get the individual colors. And there will probably be certain times when I have this as a kit. So definitely check to make sure this is available in a kit before you go and buy separate materials. This is a great project that I've been doing for a long time, so it's a lot of fun to learn. And I will be doing some really cool inverted round projects soon, so that's why I wanted to get a free video available to you so that you could learn this weave and be prepared for when we do some much more advanced pieces. So anyway, have a lot of fun with this, and I hope you enjoyed this project. Thanks.